So this is going to show Heartland Produce's training process that they have for onboarding employees. Tait Media and Storyscape Design collaborated in this process of developing this LMS. I was pretty much the full lead on this project and was in charge of a lot of the background information on building all of this, as well as the strategy process of filming. And so what you will see is reflective of the things that not only I planned, but then we collaboratively executed together. And so this is something that I could absolutely do for you, whether you want to use the software that we use to develop this, which is Thinkific, or if you wanted me to build it straight on a website, whether it's your website or a separate site that would be able to handle a full LMS build out, I can happily help you with all of that. So let's take a look at what we did for Heartland Produce Company. So if we take a look at the video here, what was a really neat opportunity here is to explain for them, help them actually take this new large bagging machine that they are going to have to train new employees for, and be able to put it into a step-by-step process of exactly what they needed to know, the compliance and questions for each one of those things, in each one of the processes here on actually what was going to be needed for them to understand first, second, and third. What are the names? What are the things they shouldn't do in the whole process? And so this is a little demonstration of what we did at the beginning here.
Is on this bagger, just in case you have an alarm pop up and you need to contact a technician, and you're as informative as you can be to a technician.
So this is explaining the in the basic processes of what's involved happening in this machine, the names and associated stations of this machine all at once for this video. This is how to activate it in particular. And then there are associated questions that will help you explain how to activate the machine and how to load the machine. And then we went on to describe the touchscreen device on being able to program the device itself.
You'll select that. You'll come to the left-hand corner icon that shows the multiple folders here. You'll select this. You'll come to this program screen where it shows multiple programs. Right now, I have already for any product to that bagger. Whenever you're ready to run production on either or both machines, make sure that these icons are not crossed out.
So what we did was have one camera just squared up on the actual screen itself, because there wasn't any way to screen record internally on these devices. So we had to record directly off the screen. Some of that also happened after we filmed this, so we know exactly what parts needed to be captured to explain the process. So we did that also after some of the explanation here. And we went and shot him explaining. This is one of the technicians experts from Euro bagging machines, and he was able to run through a very detailed training of this whole process directly from the manufacturer, and we were able to record that for the Heartland Produce to train their people exactly how the machine ought to run, and to develop questions that specifically help them with the process of what things to click, what things you shouldn't click, and why. And by the end of it, you learn the entire process of operating the machine, between both at a beginner's level and as well as a expert level of being able to program the machine, and explaining any particular questions that they might have towards the end, and what actions are performed for each one of these types of things. So this is the process that we went through to do this. First and foremost, we met with the leadership team to have them describe exactly what the process was that they were going to want us to do. This was one of many machines that were on our docket to build trainings for. And so the first step was explaining why this one was more important at the beginning. This is a brand new machine just being put in. So it made sense for us to be a part of the process in explaining how that machine works, to the new employees. And so what we did was take through what was important about what are the outcomes that the leadership wanted for these things to happen. We thought about the exact group of people that the goal was at the time on how they would be trained on this material, and then how would they be walked through with this in real life after the training, because that's always a really important thing. You can't just throw this on online training and expect them to be experts without having done it. So it's always, this is programming essentially the mind. This is understanding, here's what this thing does, here's what this thing is, and more importantly, here's really what not to do, so that you know exactly what you should be watching out for that could either hurt yourself, hurt the machine in the process. And so that was one of the quality things, was safety in the process of helping them understand what was important about this machine. So then after we met with the leadership team, we then actually came in on site, and we had this expert on camera, mic'd up, just explain the whole thing start to finish. We did not have a particular script. We had, generally speaking, what the technician who's directly from the manufacturer, how he would recommend walking through this. That is not typical. Typically, we do want to have a script and exactly how we want to walk through what's what. Because we had the expert in the room who actually was one of the guys, he's actually one of the people on the phones explaining when something goes wrong, how to walk people through it when they're not even there. And so this guy was incredibly talented, and he was able to deliver this all in basically one take for the entire 60-minute training, step by step. And so that was really phenomenal that we were able to capture his expertise and be able to produce this amazing product for Heartland Produce. And so the goal was, we would typically, after our initial meeting with the leadership, we would actually sit down with a subject matter expert. We would walk through all the processes that they go to that would explain it. We would write that out. Sometimes that would require maybe actually going to the machine, having them demonstrate it just so that we understand it. And then we would write out the procedures first, and then we would go out to film each one of those segments specifically, so that there would be no gaps in training. And then the next step, of course, would be the review process. So once we would put that together all on paper, we would, and then start to film that, we would review, we would cut that up into the small segments, each one of these modules, these sections of lessons or sessions on going through, and we would create the assessment questions that would help be able to, what is the most important information that needs to be assessed. So this would be part of the process, would be picking what's more important and what's of greatest value to understand, picking depending on how complex they want the assessment questions to be and how difficult they are and of how many chances you get. This one was, you just have to complete it until you were finished. And once you were finished and you got them all correct, you could take it as many times as you needed, but you needed to at least get it all correct to be given a certificate. So this software, Thinkific, was able to actually produce a certificate right after at the end, and then you could email that directly to the HR professional who is giving you this quiz, or they would be facilitating it with you. So that was one of the other additions at the end of developing this, was one of the requests by the client was to actually create a second one that could be used in a group facilitation rather than an individual facilitation. And that way, if they needed to, they could walk through this together and answer the questions. So we created a second version of this that could be used for the instructor to walk through the information with a group, and that was be able to answer these questions correctly, and of course then be able to have their certificate that could be given to each one of these people to certify them on this machine that they went through this process and passed. And so that is what I can help you create. Typically speaking, you can either use Thinkific, which is a fantastic software. It is an expensive software to use, however. This company had the kind of bandwidth to be able to afford that. Or we could build it directly on your site. So it would be very similar to something like this. So if you've ever gone to, I don't know if you've ever had this chance to check out Masterclass, but that's where a lot of the word got popularized, is this amazing course called Masterclass, where you could go and learn from all the experts. Here's Jotko Wilnick, And the way the site is laid out, this would be essentially the course page to explain the course to someone, so that would be on your site, potentially for either your employees or someone if you wanted to turn this into a marketing piece as well that you would offer. That's another way of doing this. It would have a page that explains the course, very similar to this. And then in the course would look something like this. There are lots of different ways to produce this. This is another one from Apollo Academy, and this one was by Samantha McKenna and her business that helps people learn how to use emails for marketing. And so she has her course here. You can see, got the title here, the nice full screen video, which of course then plays.
I was really hesitant to start.
And then you have the nice drop-down lists here, the text for explaining what the session's about, and any kind of resources that would be helpful in this process as well. And so then this is some of the things that I can help you create. This is completely one of the things that I can design for you from scratch, all on your website or on a second site. I typically develop on Wix because it has all the kind of tools that I need to be successful. And so you could get a hold of me. We could have a conversation, get this process started, and start to develop your training that gives your people the best understanding as they're coming in, or the people that you want to market to as well. That's a great opportunity for you to use some of these great classes and put one of these lessons out for free out of the multiple lessons as a great opportunity to explain to the people that you want to get to know and actually serve, is to be able to give value in this form. So let's have a conversation about this. If you're interested, reach out to me. You can go to my website, storyscapedesign.com, and you can reach out that way. You can email me at cja@storyscapedesign.com. And then you can also find me on one of my social medias. And so looking forward to hearing from you. Reach out, because this is a great opportunity to serve the people, whether you're working for you or the people you'd like to work with.